Teresa Allure. Teresa Allure was a 19-year-old student attending Champlain College Lennoxville in Sherbrooke, Quebec. After leaving her dormitory residence, she mysteriously disappeared on November 3, 1978. Police and campus officials were not very helpful, believing that Teresa simply ran away on her own, and the college continued to bill Teresa's family for her room and tuition. Teresa would not be found until 5 months later, when her partially clad body was discovered amidst some thawing ice in a small body of water approximately 1 kilometer away from her dorm. Police suspected that she may have been the victim of a drug overdose and placed in the water by panicking friends, but there was no trace of drugs in her system. Teresa's missing clothes were found neatly folded on a log in a wooded area, and her wallet was found several miles away. In 2001, Teresa's brother asked police to reopen the case after discovering evidence that Teresa may have been the victim of a serial rapist. Teresa's brother tracked down numerous women who had been sexually assaulted by an unknown assailant in the Sherbrooke area during the same time period as Teresa's death. At least 2 other Sherbrooke females, 20-year-old Louise Camirand and 10-year-old Manon Dube, were victims of unsolved homicides at that time, and it's possible their deaths are connected to Teresa. But even though the case was reopened, the death of Teresa Allure still remains unsolved. Suzanne Jovine. Yale University was shaken when 21-year-old senior Suzanne Jovine was brutally murdered on the evening of December 4, 1998. Sometime after 9 p.m., Suzanne emailed a friend from her apartment, saying she was going to leave some books in the lobby for her the next morning after retrieving them from someone else. Afterwards, Suzanne left her apartment to go to the Yale Police Communications Center to return the keys for a car she had borrowed. Shortly before 10 o'clock, she was found dead approximately 3 kilometers from campus. Her throat was slit, and she had been stabbed 17 times. It is unknown if Suzanne had any contact with the person borrowing her books, and that person has never been identified. After returning the keys, it is likely that Suzanne entered another vehicle at some point, since it would have been impossible for her to have walked to the murder scene during this time frame. Authorities immediately named Suzanne's thesis advisor, James Van de Velde, as the prime suspect. There were rumors he had been conducting an affair with Suzanne, but there was no evidence to support this, and nothing to tie him to the crime. A witness claimed to have seen a white male sprinting away from the scene on the night of the murder, but when asked to identify Van de Velde, she claimed it wasn't him. It was recently announced that James Van de Velde is no longer a suspect, but the real killer of Suzanne Jovine remains unidentified.